First of all, everything you see here is gonna be weird. It's a weird shape, okay? You wanna be safe when you're cutting something, make it flat, okay? So let me see, I'm gonna try it this way. Nope, not comfortable for me. I'm gonna cut off one side of it, okay? I've made it flat, right? Everybody has at least one or two of these. These are your garbage bowl. You can put whatever you're not gonna be cooking in here. Then I'm gonna cut this onion in half. I'm gonna keep this hand safe using the claw. Not gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I'd much rather graze my knuckle than cut off the tip of my finger, right? I'm gonna cut it in half. You're gonna get back to your station and you're gonna say, Sherry, she said I should cut it in half. Did she mean through this way or through this way? Think of it as a globe. You're gonna cut it from pole to pole, okay? So that's like that. It's gonna make it theoretically easier to peel this. But when people are watching me, nothing's easy. So it's not gonna be very graceful. There we go. Okay, so now we've kept this. We're gonna be chopping. We're doing a lot of dicing, okay? Today we're roasting, so that means you'll be dicing up everything you have. You'll end up putting everything you're gonna be roasting, if that's what you're doing at your table, in a bowl, tossing it with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then putting it on sheet pans. We're gonna cook everything in our big bad oven in the commissary. It's quicker, so we can have more time to feel relaxed about our dicing. These ovens here can take a little bit more time. So no need on your recipe to preheat your ovens today. We'll take everything away and bake those for you, okay? All right, back to the onion, we're gonna dice. This is a good way to keep it out of the way. Also this, we're gonna do one horizontal cut, okay? And then we'll turn it toward us. And then onions are great. They've got these little striations, little lines on them, kind of a little guide. We're gonna cut everything, not super small, but kind of small, because the smaller you cut something, the faster it's gonna roast. So we're not gonna, if you want to have big chunky things at home, that's great, you've got the time for it, but we wanna eat lunch together. So we're gonna try to get everything kind of cut kind of small. All right, and now we'll do this. Cut this. If you don't want to waste anything, you can kind of just go around it. So now you've got diced onions. We're happy to show you that as many times as you like. It's job security for us. We're very happy to show you that. If you were to want to slice it, we'd have it not this week, but I think, is it next week? The third week we will do some slicing. You'd cut off both sides. Once again, get that first layer off that we don't want to eat. And then, oh, I lost it. All right, so cutting uphill, safe. This is not so safe, cutting downhill, right? Flip it over, always be cutting uphill, okay? Yep, so that is a way to slice things. There's other ways to do it. We're happy to show you that, okay? Pepper, we're gonna do a lot of onions and peppers in here. Those are a great way to start making some flavor, right? Onions and peppers. This is a great way. A friend of ours who works here, Gabby, showed us this. I love the young people. They watch the TikTok. They tell me things that I would not know of. So we're gonna treat this like a little can opener, because what's in the middle of this pepper? See? And they get all over the cutting board, and they're edible, but nobody wants to eat them, right? So we're gonna cut off the top, not all the way through, just wind it around. Here's our garbage. We know it's in the middle, so take that out. Pretty clean. I'm not as fussy about this white stuff, but if you are, it's a good time just to pick that out. And then you don't even have to waste this. You can just pop this through. Why waste it, right? There we go. So we're gonna dice this. We've already made one safe flat surface. We're gonna cut it in half now. And now we can kind of make it flat, okay? Gonna do this with a lot of things. We're gonna cut strips, and then we're gonna cut little chunks, okay? So it's flat now. You see a lot of this in cooking shows and movies, right? They always come in with a bag, they've got a baguette in there, and they just start doing, we're not, you know, we got some drama queens in here, you know, I understand, go for it, but you don't need to do it. You're basically just doing this. We're gonna cut strips, and then you'll take a few, and you'll be able to dice it that way, okay? Keeping your hand out of the way. This strip is also called, you'll see in recipes, julienne. That's what this would be, okay? Just little strips. But we're not doing that, we're just dicing. So make it flat, cut strips, and cut chunks, okay? All right. So these are what we call tender veggies. When we're roasting them, these have a lot more liquid in them. So we're gonna be roasting these. We have back here, we've got our roasted veggie taco. Those are all gonna be like tender veggies. They have more liquid in them. They're gonna take about 20 minutes to roast, less time to roast. But we also have our roasted autumn vegetable salad. We're gonna be doing that with carrots, potato, sweet potato. A lot harder, less liquid. That's gonna take closer to 40 minutes. Not today because we've got our convection oven. It's gonna be faster, but in your home oven, depending on how big you cut it, again, really important to not make big chunks of these veggies because they'll take, have you ever tried to roast a whole beet? You gotta get a movie, sit down and wait. So if you do small chunks, it's gonna be a lot better. All right, so these are all really weirdly shaped, and the harder a vegetable is, the more, risk there is of cutting yourself because you're forcing things, right? So you wanna cut it into manageable pieces, okay? Here's something long. I'm gonna make it half its size, okay? I'm gonna cut off the tip too. That's just pretty. So now I've got my flat surface. I'm gonna cut planks. It's kind of a fancy name for boards because I wanna do the same thing that I did with the pepper, make some strips. Okay, so I'm gonna cut planks, 3 of them. And now I can do narrow little strips and, okay? And that's about the size we're looking for today, okay? So does that make sense to y'all? Got that flat surface, making planks, about 3 of them. Want you to do it safely. That's pretty chunky, but we can make up for it by cutting really narrow pieces. And then narrow pieces here. So they won't look exactly diced, but that's gonna cook pretty well, right? Because it's small. Again, we are happy to show you that again. We're gonna be using this little tender veggie back here. It's not gonna take long to cook, but I think people see a squash and they think immediately, it just makes natural sense. We're gonna cut circles. You may do that. That's a great thing to do maybe for a soup, do some little demi-lunes or something. But we're gonna put this in a taco, so every time you go to cut something, think about how you wanna eat it. In a taco, do you want big pieces, different shapes, or do you want them kind of uniform and smaller, right? So we're gonna do the same thing we've done with everything else. I'm gonna cut off the tip and the tail. I'm gonna cut it into manageable pieces, and then I'm gonna do planks again. And you can do, and then strips, and a dice. Same thing with a lot of things, okay? This week at least with roasting. You wanna try to get things about the same size, they cook at the same rate, but there's nothing that happens today that we can't fix.